and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today we're going to talk about biotopes. Now, the definition of biotope is basically mimicking a slice, a very specific slice of nature, from the substrate through the hardscape to the inhabitants and the plants. And how rigid you are with this is sort of up to you. It can be inspired by a particular slice of nature, or it can be an exact replication. And I think that doing things in this way is really helpful for successful aquarium keeping, because it makes the fish act in a really natural manner. Now, none of my tanks are actual biotopes, as in none of them have material sourced from the actual region of the fish. And a lot of times my aquariums are stocked from like a loose geographical region rather than a very specific waterway. For instance, if you were to be building a biotope and you wanted to do, let's just say the Rio Negro, you would have to pick all fish that would be found from the same small part of that waterway. And this can be a real obstacle for a few reasons. One is that it is almost impossible to get the actual hardscape materials as well as the plants from those areas. It's much easier to get fish from all the same area than it is all the other stuff. That being said, most people are content with recreating the look loosely, like it's an inspiration rather than an actual recreation. But the actual definition of a biotope is to recreate that slice of nature from as I mentioned, the substrate, the fish, the hardscape, the plants, as well as the water parameters. And that is exceptionally difficult to do. And it's hard because it's really difficult to get that sort of data unless it's a place that you can go and visit in person. That being said, I think it is exceptionally rewarding to do biotope-inspired aquariums to really try and mimic the essence of the area that you're trying to recreate for your fish. I think a really good example of this is my 75-gallon South American. Now that's a really generic term. South America is huge. But in that aquarium, I've created tangles of wood with plants that got stuck in it. I have some botanicals and leaf litter. And I've picked fish that all would be found in the same sort of waterway. But again, if that was to be a biotope, I would have to pick a particular stream, river, or body of water and really recreate the actual look of that area. It's something that I'm really interested in pursuing more, but have not done yet. Though I do think it's pretty obvious from my aquariums that they're all biotope inspired. And I want to encourage you guys, when you're choosing fish for your aquarium, to really start with that sort of concept first. I think you get a much better result both in the overall look of the aquarium as well as the behavior of the fish. You know, for a while I was calling my aquariums biotypes, but then I realized a biotype is actually a group of things like plants that are genetically identical, and that doesn't make any sense. So we're going to go with biotope inspired instead of biotype. But I think, you know, another good example of that would be my shell dweller tanks. You know, the vast majority, or both of those aquariums have fish that are from the same or similar waters and are really trying to recreate an environment that is a match to what you would see in the wild. Now, for the purposes of an aquarium, it's really important to consider scale as well. And what I mean by that is the scale of your materials, the scale of your plants, and how they match the inhabitants that you're going to be using. For instance, in my Blackwater aquarium, it's a small aquarium, it's only 20 gallons, so I used all smaller forms of plants, things like narrow-leaf java fern, Anubias nana, Anubias bonsai, smaller cryptocorynes, the Ligandra, and, you know, just stuff that really suits the scale of the very small fish in that aquarium. I also did the same thing in my 55-gallon planted. While a lot of those plants will get really tall, the actual scale of them is relatively small. The Sagittaria has thin leaves, the Hygrophila is a bit bushy but has that elongated leaf pattern, and again with the narrow leaf java fern. My hill stream tank as well has a lot of plants that are of a smaller size than I could fit in that aquarium, but I think part of the reason my aquariums look successful and relatively natural is because I really pay close attention to the mature size of the plants and how it matches the various wood and rock that I utilize in order to really showcase the fish inside. And it's something that's become more mature over time in my aquariums, and it's part of the learning and growing process of being a fish keeper. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you guys and encourage you guys to do more of the Biotope style aquariums. While it is really difficult to get the materials from the actual area, with the increase of the availability of all the different botanicals and hardscape supplies, it really gives us an opportunity to create a much more natural environment in what would otherwise be just a glass box for our critters. As always, I want to know what you guys think. Do you do Biotope aquariums? Do you try and recreate a slice of nature? What is your concept when you're beginning a new aquarium? For me, it's always been really, really important to have things sort of work together within my aquarium, and the best way to achieve that is by stocking from a loose geographic region. As always, thanks for your continued support. Make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell on, and let me know down below your favorite materials or your favorite biotope that you've worked with, or if you'd like to see me try and do a really rigid biotope in the future.